Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right now, a ton of you have asked me to make this video about Brian Grant leaving for Loki and effectively kind of retiring or semi-retiring from Alliance aspect of MCOC, at the very least, maybe MCOC in general, we'll see about that, and Katy Candy leaving. That's effectively only thing that I have been asked by majority of the player base in the last 2 days, and I can't escape any further. Now, I didn't want to make this video because it's about them much more than it is about me, but at this point I just can't individually answer every single person in detail when they do message me. What do you think about Katy leaving? What do you think about Brian leaving? And all the other implied questions. Well, I think first thing we need to acknowledge that there's a lot of difference in between the reasoning why Katy left and why Brian's retreating, because they're very different players. But it's also a very good representation of shit that's going wrong in this application anymore, because I don't really want to call it a game anymore, because I believe Brian did a great job showcasing it, but I do believe that this isn't as much of a game at the moment as it is a digital marketplace for transactions. And I'll explain that in a bit more of a moment. But what we need to understand which two groups of players both of these YouTubers represent. And what I want to make sure that people also understand, that the fact that a content creator or a player leaves is not necessarily the biggest deal. They're still humans. Their opinion, is just that, their opinion. It's just the fact that what they do is broadcasted to many more people and they can discuss it. But ultimately, it can be just as much as individual circumstances, or just because a YouTuber leaves, it does not necessarily represent a huge trend in the community. Even though, in this case, I believe it does. But we need to understand that YouTubers are people. Just because somebody leaves, somebody comes in new to the game pretty much every day. Somebody's going to start making videos or whatever. That being said, obviously, Brian does kind of represent, whether he likes it or not, a large group of players, which are the more try-hard free-to-play players. And Katy is a typical example of a very, relaxed, kind of chill, casual, just doing this game thing for fun kind of thing. She doesn't compete for top AQ rewards or isn't the most hardcore IW player. She clears plenty of content, she used to anyways. But she's not the most kind of competitive person. She's a veteran of the game, fairly advanced account, fairly good knowledge about the game, and kind of represent more of a mid-level of the summoner. But both of them took this time to kind of call it quits. And the question is obviously, what do I think about it? And why they left? And they explain their best the reason. But I think before we get to why and everything else, we need to think about, again, more directly of what is Marvel Contest Champions right now. Brian in his video described the idea of two different apps, basically. On the left side, on one side, you can have a game where there's no transactions, no monetization. Everything you have, everything you do is what you earn, what you play for. Kabam makes zero money, and everything is, up to the player. And on the other side, there is zero gameplay. You don't play anything. You don't earn anything at all. Everything that you have is what you buy. And, you have your digital trinkets, which effectively at that point is not a game. It's a digital wallet that lets you sort and organize your Marvel figurines or whatever. There's nothing to do with them. You can look at them. You can read them. You can compare them with other players. But, you can't actually play anything. And those are the two games. And obviously, MCOC has never been either or. But the thing is, the thing on the right side is not a game. It's an app. It's a wallet. That is a game. And as long as MCOC lives somewhere moderately in the middle, it can be called your monetized game filled with microtransactions. Problem is that MCOC has changed. Brian quite literally shows and proves the difference, significance of the spending in general. And every single person who has played alongside Brian can measure their relationship to their own accounts to relationship with Brian's accounts if you're spending. Fact of the matter is, if you, let's say, have been playing for a similar amount of time, if you have been significantly less committed to the game, but if you have spent occasionally on it, you're going to be further progressed than Brian at this point, more than likely. And that is the problem here. The thing that has changed, and what Kabam White Knight ass lickers are pretending that it always has been, is the monetization aspect and how heavily the game is monetized. Well, here's going to be the news flash. Until Act 5, you could not buy a rank 5 5-star champion. If you wanted to have a rank 5 5-star champion on day 1, you had to do Act 5. Kabam did sell a few fragments, but it was nowhere near enough for you to rank up a champion. Fact of the matter was, still at that point, you had to play the game to progress. If you wanted to rank 5 on day 1, you had to explore Act 5. And then, you know, Alliance Wars was like the big rewards where you could get another tier 5, which could get you like a second rank 5, and that really mattered. And that was shit that you couldn't buy. Don't get me wrong, there were always offers. You could buy things, just not the most important things. Not in the biggest quantities. Vast majority of the rewards were found in story content, in Alliance Wars, and so on and so forth. Vast majority. And then we saw the balance change to a point where right now, and this is the big thing that people don't understand. Right now, given some very basic requirements that, you know, you have played the game for a bit, at some point in the past, let's say you have completed Act 6, still at the moment, because of Thronebreaker titleage, as long as you have completed Act 6, done nothing, have never joined an alliance, have never played Alliance War, have never played Alliance Quest, have never done Abyss, haven't done a single variant, haven't done anything in the game, just gotten up to Act 6 completion. That's it. Never even try to explore it. You can be way further than people who have done all those things. And that is the thing that has changed in a recent year or two. You don't have to play the game anymore for any reason. You just don't have to do it. As long as you buy shit, you're going to overtake majority of the people playing the game. Only people ahead of you are going to be the people who play the game and buy shit. But buy shit is the most important thing right now. So by definition, this is much less of a game right now than it is a place for digital transactions. The gaming bit is optional. You don't have to do Abyss. You don't have to explore Act 6. You don't have to explore Act 7 at this point. As long as you can complete Act 6 once, gaming is optional. Grind arena, don't do quests, don't do anything. Don't log in other than buy offers. So what is this right now? Is this a game or this an app that lets you spend money if you want to progress fast? And this is where we're at. We are at a version of MCOC where playing the game is optional. Do you want to call that a game? Do you want to call this application right now a game? I don't. You can play games on Tesla, but you don't call Tesla a gaming console. It's a car that's a primary function, right? To get you from A to B. If primary progression method in this app, the most important thing is buying shit the most efficient way, then it's not a game anymore. Just like Tesla isn't a gaming console. And that is the thing that we need to understand, and that is the reason why Brian is leaving. And obviously that does not matter to anyone. So long as the gaming function is included, maybe that is all you care. So long as you can play. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. So long as you can play, you're happy. Well, but that is when we take a look at Kitty Candy leaving the game. Because that has become significantly less fun as well. And Katy doesn't care how many rank 4s somebody has. Katy doesn't care how many rank 4s she has. What she cares is whether she enjoys it or not, right? And yet she and thousands of people like her have left the game and will be leaving the game if things don't change. Why is that then? So now there is a group of players feeling alienized and leaving the game because, well, it's not a game anymore. Primary function is not to play. Now the people who just want to casually, you know, have fun are also stepping back. Why is that? And that is the fact that things don't really matter anymore, I think. Whatever you do in this game, again, matters much less than what you buy in it. And when it comes to new champions being released and champions being buffed, Kabam has moved away from desires of the players. Like, an easy pull up here would be the Guillotine Ask Me Anything session, you know? Kabam made us care about which champion's gonna get buffed, right? Kabam made us vote and grind arena and everything else for the guillotine, wherever it is, if I can find that announcement. Kabam did all of that, and it all turned to shit because the buff was crap. They made Ask Me Anything session, and, you know, they said, we heard you. We heard what you said about guillotine. They're not happy with her. They're not going to change her. So none of that shit mattered to majority of the players because they kept guillotine shit and they didn't listen to the players. You know, people want Thronebreaker difficulty or people want change in KVQ, and they make these super complicated nodes in KVQ that, you know, by definition, KVQ is targeted towards mid-tier players. And they make nodes that mid-tier players will never be able to enjoy because they're very limited in which champions can be taking part of. That's again a perfect example of some sort of experiment, but call it whatever you will, not listening to the player base. You know, we want Thronebreaker difficulty, instead we get cap difficulty that feels like Thronebreaker with cap rewards, and, you know, not much comes of it. Portion players didn't play KVQ. Similarly with like Act 7 Paradox, you know. 7.3 beta comes out. Most of the people don't like Paradox. They keep it in. And, you know, we play through it. Everybody gives feedback. Most of the people agree that, you know, Paradox were kind of shitty. Nobody particularly enjoyed it. 7.4 Paradox is back. That is the point. Kabam themselves said about a year ago that, you know, they need to move away from long and boring abilities that are, you know, not necessarily overly enjoyable or effective. But every single new champion feels like a Bible. Every new piece of content has to read more than... Let's put it like this. In MCOC, to do cap EQ or 7.3, you have to do as much reading, if not more, than it would take you to get a degree in lesbian dance theory or whatever community college degree you want to get. You could literally substitute the reading that you do in MC. In fact, I am 100% sure that there are thousands of young people out in the world right now who have done more reading trying to explore cap EQ this month than they did for whatever they had to do in school. That is where we're at right now. And that is just, you know, blatant example of Kabam not listening. And there's not much else to add to it. Arrogance, ignoring the player base, is how we get here. And again, there is a brigade of Kabam White Knights who have their ass so deep in Kabam's bunghole that they can't see what's in front of them, because the only thing in front of them are two fat ass cheeks. Things have changed, things are changing, and you're not helping. You're one of those people who say, you know, everything's perfect. It's always been like that. Kabam has to make money. You're the problem. Kabam has always made money. How much is enough money? Kabam does have to make money 100%. But What's the best way to put it? What matters is how they make money. What matters is how they make money. What things they monetize. What balancing. Like, I don't ever want to hear a single person from Kabam or Kabam White Knight mention, for instance, game economy. Single gifting event game economy is, well, but gains from a single gifting event overtake the gains from entire year's worth of offers or progress or the gameplay. Where is the economy? Again, the biggest question everybody has to ask right now, what is MCOC to you? Because for a lot of people, it feels much less like a game. And I think I kind of explained and proved my point that it is much less than a game than it is a digital marketplace for transactions. Because playing the game can be secondary. You can gain more, you can progress faster, you can be more in terms of MCOC if you buy shit. Playing is optional. And that's how we got here. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about